I rise to speak on the topic of policing the pandemic. We've heard many a time that we are living in unprecedented times, that these are the brave new world, and our opportunity is all before us to build a better world. Unfortunately, it seems that the more things have changed in recent months, the more that they have stayed the same. Early on, under the pandemic, quite understandably, many human rights and civil liberties groups were very concerned about the extraordinary powers that have been afforded under our various states and territories frameworks to police the pandemic, to enforce social distancing, to enforce a lack of crowds gathering, and to enforce a range of public health measures. I note that early on the Public Interest Advocacy Centre ran an online forum that I participated in, and I was horrified to hear, even in those first few weeks, stories such as an international student who'd been fined at her local skate park when the police refused to believe that she did not actually understand that she was not meant to be there. A fine on an international student who was suffering from mental health issues, facing extreme poverty, unable to return home, unable to actually continue her employment due to the pandemic, looking for some fresh air and a skate at the local skate park, landed her with a significant financial burden to rub salt into her wounds. Around the country, we've heard stories from Indigenous communities in particular that they are being policed more heavily. We don't have the statistics across the country in a coordinated way. The only state that's doing comprehensive reporting is New South Wales. But from what we do know, the approaches are very different in different states and territories. The ACT early on had no fines issued. The head of their police there stated that they preferred education to ensure that people were embracing the public health messages. However, in New South Wales, where that recording was happening, we saw towns in Western New South Wales, such as Walgett, with high Indigenous population, copping extraordinary levels of high fines in those small towns of less than 2,000 people, yet the leafy green suburbs of Waverley and Randwick, of the eastern suburbs of Sydney, where indeed the hotspots of COVID-19 were, increasingly very few fines in those particular suburbs. So it seems that South Australia is no different to this approach. This week we've seen the release of some comprehensive figures about the fines issued in South Australia. Top of the list, Port Augusta, with 41 fines so far. These are fines of over $1,000 a pop, more if you're a business. Port Augusta, with one of the highest Indigenous populations in our state, tops the list for these pandemic fines. In terms of the second on the list, unsurprisingly, Adelaide, which you would expect to be in that top 10, with 31 fines. Following that, Burton, with 23 fines. And then followed quickly by Penfield, with 15 fines, and Whyalla-Norrie and Whyalla-Stewart, with 13 and 12 fines respectively, totalling together for that Whyalla cohort 25, which puts them at the third highest rate of fines. In the top 10, Smithfield, Edwardstown, Murray Bridge, Tarpeena, Norwood, Croydon Park, Cooper Pedy and Virginia. Of all of the fines, not a single one that I could find was in Burnside Council. It seems that under the pandemic, the policing has not changed. It is those who are the poorest, those whose skin is not white, those whose language is not first English, are the ones copping the brunt of the policing of the pandemic. This is unacceptable, and I echo the calls of Tamar Hopkins, who's the lawyer at the Police Accountability Project in Melbourne, who's been following the breakdowns of infringements across the country, that all police forces across Australia need to release their figures. They need to provide further detail as to the cold and Aboriginality of those people copping these fines, because at the moment it certainly looks to me With Port Augusta topping the list, we have a problem with the policing of the pandemic.